South Korean companies are planning to invest in the engineering, petrochemical industries, as well as information and communication technologies in Kazakhstan. Corresponding agreements were reached by representatives of the two countries following the results of negotiations in Seoul. South Korea is the leader of the global shipbuilding industry. Therefore, at the meeting, the spokespersons talked about building ships for the Kazakh fleet and joint production of equipment for the mining and metallurgical complex. The meeting participants also agreed on supplying transformers made from new high-strength materials. Representatives of the two countries' governments will discuss specific projects as part of the Kazakh-Korean Cooperation Fresh Wind Program in Nur Sultan. Kazakhstan is a country with great potential. I would like today's meeting to develop into a great cooperation in heavy industry. Our cooperation is expanding the boundaries of activities in the CIS and Europe, and I think that Kazakhstan occupies a very important place. You have a system of benefits and a transparent policy, due to which we consider Kazakhstan as a good partner. Foreign experts evaluate the first results of the 100 days of Kassym-Jomart Tokayev's presidency as a course to the new political modernization. According to the Chief Ombudsman of Turkey, Şeref Malkoç, the reforms carried out by the head of state will strengthen the dialogue between the authorities and society and bring the state to a new level, which will make a significant contribution to the development of the economy of the republic. In addition, the Ombudsman also said that the creation of the National Council of Public Confidence as the right decision and demand at the current time. Improving the effectiveness of public authorities and workers is the most important factor in establishing feedback with the public. A qualified specialist saves the state budget along with quality work. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev is very well aware of this. From the first days of the presidency, the head of state began carrying out reforms in this direction. In addition, one of the examples of democratic development is the creation of the National Council of Public Confidence and the improvement of legislation on rallies. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev leads the country to the path of development and reform. This is voiced by members of the German parliament. According to the representatives of the Bundestag, he paid great attention to social policy during his presidency. In addition, the priority goals that he introduced include business support, particularly to micro-enterprises. Member of the Bundestag, Manfred Grun, highlighted that President Tokayev set the right course, prioritizing the concept of a listening state.
President Tokayev
said that Kazakhstan should develop further and look to the future. This is especially important to strengthen the dialogue with the population at all levels. Officials must listen to the people. It is also important to develop a multi-party system and carry out reforms in the judicial system. I believe this is a course towards strengthening democracy, which we know in Europe. Classified documents related to purchasing plans of German armed forces are illegally made available to the Airbus company staff. About 20 people are temporarily suspended from their duties. As part of the investigation, the prosecutor's office in Munich seized some of the documents and computers. Moreover, one of the representatives of Bundeswehr armed forces was also brought to disciplinary action. At least one person was killed and 6 were injured in a shooting in the capital of United States, Washington. A shooter opened fire near the White House. All the wounded were taken to hospital while 2 of them are in serious condition. The employees of the homicide department were called to the scene. About 30,000 people in Bermuda were left without electricity due to the Humberto hurricane. Strong gusts of wind tore down the roofs of residential buildings. It is reported that many flights are cancelled. Local meteorological services reported that the wind will weaken before a tropical storm and continue to move further in the Atlantic Ocean. The construction of the Saryarka gas pipeline in Kazakhstan is nearing completion. The project is being implemented under the instruction of the first president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev. The goal of the project is to transport gas to Kazakhstan's capital as well as to central and northern regions, as well as increasing the energy security of the country. The first stage of the pipeline route will provide gas to 2.71 million people. The project costs 267 billion tenge. The amount of financing totals 102 billion tenge. The uniqueness of this project is that it uses securities instrument financing. The interest rate is 10%. The Global Summit on Urban Tourism will be held for the first time in Nur Sultan from October 9th to 11th. The event will be organized by the Mayor's Office of the capital and the United Nations World Tourism Organization. More than 700 delegates from 30 countries are expected to attend the summit. The discussion program includes issues on sustainable development, urban governance, innovations and technologies, as well as current tourism trends.
And the main theme of this particular event and the 8th summit will be the smart cities, smart destinations, where various experts from around the world, including the city representatives, companies, corporate tourism organizations, will be discussing how smart cities and smart destination can help the development of destinations itself, and actually also tackling the challenges of today's. It's a great opportunity to introduce the capital, the country, the Kazakhstan.
Pilgrimage tourism is being developed in Uzbekistan. The country has more than 7,000 cultural and historical sites. Nearly 200 of the sites are located in 4 ancient cities. The sites are included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Meanwhile, special tourist zones will be created in Bukhara and Samarkand in the future. According to data, more than 3 million tourists visited Uzbekistan in the first 7 months of this year. The same number of people arrived from Uzbekistan to Kazakhstan in 2017. Most of the tourists visited the ancient shrines in Turkestan. Uzbek experts say that the city, which is considered as the spiritual capital of the Turkic people, will boost tourist traffic. The history of ancient Turks is interesting not only for the descendants but also for the tourists from all over the world. For example, the mausoleum of Khoja Ahmet Yasawi is of great interest. This religious facility left a deep mark in architecture to where pilgrims pay a visit every year. We expect that relations between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan in tourism will further develop in the future. The Expert of Abais's Works essay competition will take place in Uzbekistan, where it is open to the participation of schools and university students. The event is organized by the Kazakh National Cultural Center. The main goal of the competition is to study and promote the creative heritage of the great poet. The contestants will be able to learn the works of the Kazakh literature poet in their own language. Many works of Abai are translated into Uzbek. The competition winners will receive unique opportunity to free education in Kazakhstan.
Abay Kazakhstan shoiri Uzbekistan.
I am glad that the works of the great Kazakh educator Abai are translated into Uzbek language. I plan to read the book and take part in the upcoming competition, in which anyone can participate. This is a great opportunity for everyone.
Biz Ali Majlistagi fond bar. Sol fondga жазып.
The Supreme Assembly of Uzbekistan has the fund supporting non-governmental organizations. We wrote a letter where we said that we plan to organize the competition. 30 million was allocated for these purposes. We published books with a circulation of 1,000 copies using the fund. Currently, there are over 180 institutes and colleges in Uzbekistan. We plan to donate these books to these educational institutions.
Библиотекасында сақтасын деп отырмыз.
The best college textbooks in the world are made available to students in North Kimin. For example, more than 6,000 copies of 49 publications were delivered to the library of the East Kazakhstan State Technical University. The textbooks in philosophy, psychology, economics, culture, and religious studies were brought to the library fund. These books are written by famous specialists whose works are in demand among the international community. The translator said that these textbooks were chosen on purpose.
Әсіресе экономикалық мамандықтарға арналған биыл 11 кітап жарық көрді.
I'm very happy that there are 11 books in economics, media, marketing, journalism, and strategic development that were translated into Kazakh.
Менеджмент, HR менеджмент дейді. Бұның барлығы қазақ тіліне болғандығына біз өз басым қуаныштымын. Осы күнге дейін біз өзіміздің мамандығымыз
Previously, I have to search for the information on my major everywhere. I look for the information in internet and in books written in other languages. I had to translate everything on my own. This problem is solved now. It will be easy to prepare for studies. All the textbooks were translated into Kazakh language as part of the modernization of Kazakhstan's identity and the new humanitarian knowledge 100 textbooks programs. Electronic versions of the books will be made soon. An interactive exhibition, Flyaway of the Red-Breasted Goose, was opened in the capital of Kazakhstan as part of a project to preserve this rare species of geese. Visitors can learn about the peculiarities of migration and the bird biology, as well as learn about the main threats to the goose. The exhibition is aimed to educate both children and adults. It is planned to attract more than 2,000 students in Nur-Sultan within a month.
Этот проект нацелен на сохранение казарки вдоль всего пролетного.
This project is aimed at the preservation of the red-breasted goose along the entire flyway. This goose is a distant migrant. It lives in the Arctic tundra and flies very long distance. It flies through winters in Eastern Europe as well as Kazakhstan and Russia. It faces certain threats at each stage of the journey and its habitats are reduced. Such exhibitions are one of the events as part of our large project in which 5 countries including Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Romania and Bulgaria participate.
Проектов, в котором участвуют 5 стран. Это Россия, Казахстан, Украина, Румыния, Болгария.
The capital of Kazakhstan hosted an evening dedicated to composer and musician Gabdilkhak Barlikov. The keeper of national music traditions brought a number of Kazakh key, including compositions of Kayrak by Shalyekinoly, who was an East Kazakhstan composer in the 19th century. These compositions were then included into the Otaraz Sazi repertoire. Saryaka Folk Ensemble is opening its season with this evening of key.
Концерт жалпы мынау шығыс тарбағатай күйлеріне арналған.
The concert is dedicated to the compositions of the East Tarbagatai. We have been promoting this key for the past 2 years. After all, there are very few folklore ensembles and folk musical ensembles who study these compositions and perform them. This is because there is demand. We have organized this concert for such a big purpose, which is to give spiritual nourishment to people.
Рухани азық жасау үшін сондай үлкен мақсатпен жасап отырмыз осы концертті.
Patchwork has been known for a very long time as a type of needlework. Craftswomen created items from small pieces of fabric that are amazing in beauty and harmony, including blankets, pillows, panels, and much more. Today, the patchwork is experiencing new development. Needlewoman said that the process is hard but very exciting.
Я очень хочу подчеркнуть то, что у нас в Узбекистане
I truly want to highlight the fact that we have patchwork in Uzbekistan. The patchwork has been very developed and known since ancient times. However, over time, it has slightly lost its prevalence. But we have a lot of masters in Uzbekistan. Now, quilting is actively being developed in the country.
и сейчас постепенно лоскутное шитье в Узбекистане активно развивается.
The process of creating quilts includes several stages. It is important that the product has smooth and neat connecting seams. Then it is filled with down, lamb or camel fur. Meanwhile, each patchwork product is unique. It is almost impossible to recreate the exact same product.
10 жасына бастап үйреткен менің әжем.
My grandmother taught me how to knit and sew. I also learned felting from her. I could make pillows and blankets when I was 10. I believe that it is important for girls to save and develop the craft by introducing innovations into the craft.
Қыз-келіншектер ұмытпау керек. Біз ары қарай жалғастырып, новинкаларды көрсетіп жатырмыз.
Patchwork has long been widespread as a form of decorative and applied art throughout Central Asia. Today, the craftswomen of nomads know the technique of producing quilted patchworks. The women also pass down the secrets and techniques of sewing from generation to generation.